Welcome to Project Pack 6, Day 6. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and I am going to do some drawing for you on this beautiful day 6. And I thought I would work with something with straight lines, which is not my character. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a curvy character. And so I'm starting out here with an '08 black micron. And we're going to do a tangle called
Ing.
Ing, I-N-G, I-N-G. And it's named for a statue that Molly had seen in Florida when she was on some race.
Yeah, and if you go again on the newsletter, you can look up the inspiration for this tangle. And we use the word inspiration because the objective of a tangle is not to copy something, but to take inspiration from it and use those principles and create a tangle that's a series of strokes that you can repeat.
Okay, so you can see what I did here. You draw on the black with the '08, and then you can go over it very easily. So Ing involves this zigzag line, and then after the zigzag line, you go to one side of the zigzag, and you go from point to center, and you can see how I'm going from the point of that little zag over to the zig in the middle of the zig. Does that sound good?
Good
Okay,
enough.
so now I'm going now with the black side. So
So you do it on both sides.
from the zag to the middle of the zig. I like that. That's
Right.
perfect, right?
And if you miss the middle, it's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfectly middle. You know, the Zentangle is not a perfectly perfect situation. So now I'm going to turn it upside down and do exactly the same thing. So imagine that point up there on the table and go from the zag to the middle of the zig. There you go. Point to line, point to line. And then with your white micron, my white jelly roll.
So again, she's envisioning where the other point up there would be. And this is a great example of one elemental stroke, in this case a straight line, just put together in a different sequence.
So it has that very origami look, which is really
Yeah.
cool. There's so many things you can do with that. So we're going back to the micron we're going to the micron '01, and I'm going to aura inside each one of these triangles. And you can see I'm making it so that I will go back with the white jelly roll and finish on the other side. This is easy. It's a nice meditation. Simple, simple, simple peasy.
And with this small journal, remember you can to rotate it. And the point is to rotate it in a way that's most comfortable for your hand.
So you can see my comfort point is going up and down and not moving my hand too much.
And I find if you have, or if I have my forearm somewhat supported, then it's easier than just the heel of my hand.
So we're going to go in now with the jelly roll.
And we'll do the same thing on the other side, just to continue to extend that. So we're using aura on the ing. So we're aura-ing.
Aura-ing. Yeah, we're aura-ing.
Ing.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I'm going back to my '08. Oh.
So I like how you sort of scope out the trajectory sometimes.
So I'm going to do some spirals in here. Bring Bijou in for a little ride. But I'm not going to fill the whole thing up just yet.
so this is a really nice balance of curvy and straight.
Hmm. You don't think I could have done all straight
No,
lines?
no.
Right?
But, just like we talk about contrast in light and dark, there is a same contrast in curve and straight.
Oh,
There you go. And you can see she's changing the weight just a little bit on those downstrokes. It's a little bit heavier.
you didn't think I could stay in the lines, did
No.
you? Yeah.
But that's a really good example of not planning ahead what you're going to do and being able to say, oh, wouldn't this be fun if, and just launching out there.
Oh.
And when you're not pre-planning it or trying to represent something, it's much easier to do that. See how she's weighting it on the down, on the bottom there.
So I can see the black ink on the black. You can see it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that makes it pretty easy to just go back and go over it after it's dry.
So these little swirls all stuck in there. And a nice light touch on this, all you need. So the advantage of having done those swirls in black ink on the black is you've got a little bit of a guide, so she gets to meet them.
It's hard for me to even talk on
Right,
watching these
we're
spirals.
we're both like mesmerized on
Yeah.
this. There would be
Because when Rick and I do our tangles, we do them first quietly, and then we go back in and add commentary, because I find it difficult to
so
talk while
we're-
yeah. So I'm just looking, I'm watching it.
right.
watching
We got
myself,
this letter from early on. This woman wrote us this letter. She said, my cat just loves watching the DVD that's in your kit, and it's like, all right then.
Okay.
Every time she put it on the TV, that was back in the days of DVDs and TVs and stuff, and the cat would just sit there and whoa. So one of the neat things about all tangles, and this is a great example, sort of like a fractal moment here, because you've got the space created by Ing, in which Maria tangled the spirals, and then within the spirals, you've got further the space between the strokes of the spirals, and that can be a space in which to add this little strings of tipple or perfs. So we often create a space within which we tangle using the pencil to create a string, but each tangle itself creates spaces which can hold patterns and shapes.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing on this one, and we're using a tangle as a string.
Yeah. And notice also how she's like really smushing those orbs right one into another instead of just sort of gently touching. They're like peas in a pod, just really, really pushed in.
So I'm going in with my graphite pencil here and adding some shades of gray, and what we're going to do in this particular piece is start working with the two pencils to kind of ebony and ivory-ish on both sides kind of thing. What you do on one side, you do on the other.
And she's just laying down rough, heavy graphite because we know we can go back in with a tortillon and then smooth it out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is,
There
just
it
like
is,
magic.
on cue.
Yeah. It's so funny. I used to do all that with my fingertips, and then Molly introduced me to the tortillon, and boy, it's been like my best friend. I mean, other than you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Never forget.
It is a nice balance. And you'll notice that tortillon has little marks on the end of it because we, for however long we can, we try to keep them separate, you know, because otherwise they eventually all become graphite tortillons, but for a little bit.
Okay, so I'm doing something a little bit different here. I'm putting a kind of a fat aura away from the ing, and we're going to play with that a little bit. So you can see I'm putting down quite a bit of white.
And she's using the side of it. So
Mhm.
we hold our pencils usually and tortillons at a very low angle. And that's why we use the short pencil, so you can, the end of it is in the palm of your hand.
So this is going to be sort of a like a glow, you know, like something if something's glowing.
Beautiful. You can just totally like taper it into nothing.
But wait, there's more.
Really is like frosting on a cake, right?
Yeah. So in this particular case, I got that tortillon way over on its side, so that I'm using like the whole side of it to kind of blend it in.
Neat.
I think I was designing on the fly here because I was going to do one thing and then I ended up doing something different.
But that's how this works.
So I got my 08, and I'm going in and using the Printemps spirals again as a background, just sort of a, you know, just for fun, be able to just do this as a duo tangle, right?
Well, there's this nice resonance of what's inside the ing elements and then what's happening in the outer space outside it.
Inner space and outer space. Yeah.
Mm.
And I love drawing on the white charcoal. It has it's such a William Morris look to the background.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's interested can look him up. He's one of my favorite artists. 1800s.
Yeah, William Morris very much. You see inside the work that he does, the whole idea of reticula and fragments and mirroring and rotating, and it's not immediately obvious, but it's what's going on there.
Yeah, he does, because he does it with a pattern.
With the leaves and
Yeah. Because he's a designer of patterns.
Right.
For fabric and wallpaper and rugs and I don't know, paintings and book design, all kinds of stuff, furniture.
Nice. So very subtle shading back there. So it just gives you a lot of ideas of what you can do. And you can see she did a little bit on the outside there, just to balance it. So thank you for hanging out with us again, and
Have fun.
have fun, and we look forward to seeing what you do, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye now.